Game number one was an absolute romp fest, going the way of Team Liquid and extending their streak to 3 in a row here in the Curse Invitational. Game number two, though, Mouz battled back, halted Team Liquid in their tracks, gave them no openings to do anything with that shin pick, and they rolled to an impressive win of their own, snapping Liquid's win streak so far here today and forcing our first Game 3 of the day. I'm AC, joined by Merlini, and we're going the distance. Game number 3 decides which of these teams punches their ticket to the winner's bracket finals. Here in the Curse Invitational, the loser will fall to the lower bracket. And you know, Merlini, we talked at length. We've talked all day, really, because Liquid's been involved in both of our best of three so far here today. Liquid excels at being the aggressors. They excel at creating space for their carries and creating space for their playmakers. In game number 2, Mouz just had the answer to that play style, gave them no room to breathe, and Liquid strangled pretty quickly.
I didn't actually really like the Windrunner pick too much. They banned out Puck. I felt like they could have really utilized the Puck pick instead of the Windrunner. Windrunner did a decent amount of work early, but again, she just tends to taper off, especially with a lack of mobility that a Quap, Storm, or Puck has over her. And Korok, I think, he plays an excellent Windrunner, but I think he plays a fantastic Storm as well as a fantastic Puck. And hopefully they give him, or they have more, I don't know, they just had so much magic damage. The Windrunner wasn't really that useful. It was useful for Nyx, but Nyx was on their team.
Yep, totally agree. And we're going to see Mouz go right back to the well again, picking that Nature's Prophet first. And Mouz, you know, Mouz has always been this way. I mean, you go all the way back to when Kuro was with the team, too. They were just first pick Aruba because they knew how good Kuro was. And Koikva, an absolutely phenomenal Nature's Prophet player. They do not care to first pick a Prophet in any given circumstance. This time, though, they're going to give Liquid 2 very scary heroes to give away, letting go of the Keeper of the Light and giving Bulba the Clockwork. I said it before, I'm going to reiterate it now just because I am this much of a believer. Bulba is the best Clockwork in the West, period. You know, for a long time I said one of the best. I'm convinced he's the best. He hits his hooks. He does well in lane. He knows the capabilities and, more importantly, the limits of that hero better than anyone I think I've ever seen play it in the West, and that is just not a hero you usually want to let them get a hold of.
And Mouz actually banned Nyx, and finally a team bans Nyx. I'm really glad to see that they've done it because, again, Liquid has won every single lane that they've had with Nyx in it, and it just makes their lane so easy. He's such a difficult hero to kill and very difficult to shut down in lane, even with a really good lineup. And we see Mouz immediately ban out PL, so they do not want to deal with Keeper PL, the bane of many, many competitive games. But we see Shadow Demon go on the side of Team Liquid yet again, so IX Mike most likely on that duty.
Tell you what I'd like to see here, and this is just tossing this out here. I would really like to see, if they're able to do so, and if Mouz is smart, they'll ban at least one of these two. I would really love to see Team Liquid take these 3 really great supports and the Playmaker from Clockwork and go ahead and pair them up with 2 carries. Give me a Luna, give me a Lone Druid. And the Druid, I think, should be banned out. TC's a really good Lone Druid player. What I would like to see them do is apply pressure with the Keeper of the Light, the Shadow Demon, +1. And something Liquid also does fairly frequently, it's worth mentioning, is just run a tri-lane, an offensive tri-lane, I should say, that's nothing but supports. They'll do that and just trade farm. You can do that with a Leshrac fairly easily, and that's something I've seen Liquid do effectively before. They're going to ban out the Skywrath Mage, but what I think Liquid might want to do here, given what they're up against, given it is going to be a Puck, Puck can apply pressure to Clockwork, but he shouldn't be able to kill him. Give Bulba mid, let Bulba get off to a great start, as we've seen him do time and time again, have the potential to take a game over on the back of just how potent a team fighter and how good the reach of Clockwork happens to be. Pick up a Luna to offensively tri-lane with, and then send the Lone Druid off to the solo safe lane. Looking at what they're up against, Rubik, Puck, these are heroes who initiate and counter-initiate well, but very, very thin, and that's how you tend to exploit a Nature's Prophet pickup. Make him come to fights early, before he gets up a Shadow Blade, before he gets up a Scythe of Ice, and all of a sudden, he just doesn't contribute all that much.
Interestingly enough, neither team has picked or banned Magnus, and Magnus we usually see in the top 3 picks in the first phase, and him surviving this far is quite unusual. We see Mousesports take out Skywrath Mage. We saw Korok play a pretty good one earlier, especially with his early clock pick on Liquid. I don't really think they want to deal with that ultimate, whatever it's called, into a cog. That is absolutely ridiculous, especially if you have Soulcatcher with that.
Totally agree. Totally agree. We saw just how devastating that really can be. And like you said, you factor in Soulcatcher, that tends to be all she wrote. Liquid going to have their options of carries now. PL, the only one that they're going to be prevented from taking. They banned that out just because they don't want to see the synergy between that hero and the Keeper of the Light. But, it comes down to how Liquid wants to play this. If they want to play stable, they certainly have their pick of the litter. They could pick just about any carry to farm out of a defensive tri-lane, and they clock to the off lane, then just go ahead and grab Korok and mid, maybe get a TA or something like that to give them a little bit of damage output. Magnus is still available as well, and I doubt they'll ban it, really. I mean, with Puck and Prophet already taken up, where would you put him? You'd have to lane support the Magnus just to have a place to put him, and maybe that's Liquid's plan. Go ahead and grab the mag for Korok or whoever. Usually, at least back in the day, Bulba was the primary mag player, but with the Clockwork pickup here, I don't really know if they would want to put Korok on him. But we'll have to wait and see. Either way, while we wait on this final stage of the draft to proceed, just because there's not a whole lot more we can really say until we see exactly what complexion these compositions are going to take. Want to welcome each and every one of you in. Again, this is our second best of 3 of the day, second best of 3 out of 3. We do have a third coming up just about an hour from now. Very high-profile match most of you are looking forward to. That's Na'Vi taking on the resurging Evil Geniuses squad, who got their win earlier on and moved on to the winner's bracket. Na'Vi getting past Q-Pad as well. So very impressive play. Going to be looking to basically complete our winners bracket here today. Now, the format of the Curse Invitational is we play this weekend, and after we close down shop today, we'll be done for 5 days. We're back in action next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, to play through the lower bracket, and then the weekend after that, we'll be having our finals. And the finals will actually be the lower bracket finals followed by the grand finals. So make sure you hit follow here on Curse Entertainment. Don't want you to miss a minute of that action. You can also follow Merlini and myself on various social networks. On Twitter, I'm at AC. On Twitter, he's at Merlini Dota. Merlini Dota on Facebook, YouTube, and everything else for my good friend Ben. You can find me at ACTV on just about everything else, though, in terms of YouTube and all that. So if you're enjoying what you're hearing, we'd love to have you back, not just for the Invitational, but for all of our individual projects as well. So Gyrocopter, the band selection, taking that away from Mouz Sports. What are you thinking if you're in the captain's chair for Mouz right now, Merlini?
I'm thinking about black heroes. So black needs... There's anti-mage, again, there's a Shadow Demon, so you don't really want a Shadow Demon. Gyro ban, we saw Luna, but... I don't think Luna could work okay in their strategy, but they didn't have too much success with it the first game, so I'm not sure if they're going to pick it in this third game. And PL already banned out, so I'm just trying to think of a carry that will work well with their lineup. They're most likely just going to do Puck mid, Furion offlane, and Rubik Lina babysit black. And the carry is just the big question here. Alchemist banned out, and there's not too many heroes left. Nake's already banned, and Lone Druid already picked up by Liquid, as you said.
Love the Lone Druid pickup. Now the question becomes, how do they want to run this? They could just off-lane him and then safe lane another carry. I really want to see a Luna pick. I'm telling you, I've seen Liquid run lineups like this a lot. The other option that stands out is something like a Leshrac. With Lina already gone, Mouz is certainly not going to be picking a Lesh, so it's there. They can pick the Leshrac, run the Shadow Demon and Keeper of the Light in an offensive tri-lane with the Leshrac farming. And depending on who Mouz picks up here, there's a lot of carries in a lot of situations, especially with Rubik and Lina. As good as Rubik and Lina are, they are very easy to punish if they get out of position at all. Bane is another hero that's available. If they wanted to do something like that, then you could honestly offensive tri-lane with the Clock, the Shadow Demon, and the Bane. And, well, no, then you don't have a mid. Never mind. But that's really going to be the question, I think, is going to be what Liquid wants to do with the Clock. Is it going to be a solo mid Clock, which I think it might be, just to give Bulba that leg up, or are they going to do something like pick a Magnus and give him to Korok? Either way, TC will, without a doubt, be farming up that Druid.
Yep, and still waiting for that pick. Last pick from Mouz. Still 40 seconds left on the reserve time. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I doubt they'll put Clockwork versus Furion. That's probably the only bet that I can make. Lone Druid could be in any of the 3 lanes. I think he fares fairly decently against a Nature's Prophet, as well as he's okay versus a Puck. And we see Weaver. Interesting pick. I guess that's a Black Weaver?
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, this is sad. The last time I saw Black play Weaver, who was it against? I want to say it was against No Tidehunter, now known as Alliance, but at that point in the D2L, they were known as No Tidehunter. And do you know how they countered it? They picked a Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker deuces on a Weaver. Bloodseeker, by the way, got played multiple times in the raid called D2L Season 2 and had a 100% win percentage. Not even trolling. So Doubt we'll see that from Liquid, but there are plenty of ways to shut down a Weaver. One of the more effective ways is just to rush out an Orchid on an unorthodox hero. But again, Liquid's going to show us exactly what they're up to here. Magnus, as you had mentioned, is still available if they want to go with something like that. Would certainly work well with the team fight potential they already have. But I really like the thought, yep, there's the TA, so they are just going to go ahead, skip the Magnus, but still, that will be a Korok hero, and they're not going to do anything as interesting as I had hoped. Nonetheless, still a very strong draft on the side of Liquid. Mouse Sports, and this comes back to that word I use all the time, and this is a very clear instance of it. Liquid's lineup feels very robust to me. They have a lot of ways to deal damage, a lot of ways to start fights, a lot of ways to get out of trouble between disruption and cogs and all that. When I look at Mouse Sports' lineup, they've got a lot of strong heroes, but they are very, very thin. Their entire team just kind of melts if they're caught out. Like, there's just no one who can soak damage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, one problem with Liquid's lineup, though, is they don't have any disables besides Hookshot. Hookshot is the only one they have, and I guess Root, but again, no stuns or silences for Weaver is always a problem. We saw last game, they didn't have any disables for Queen of Pain, and Queen of Pain just rolled over them ever past the 10-minute mark, and that might be a problem this game, too, especially if Black secures his farm. Weaver, a very good hero in triple lanes, too. Very good defensive and offensive ability with Shikuchi, and I think that Liquid will have a difficult time shutting down Black's farm. And again, if Black gets his farm like he usually does, he's gonna cause a lot of trouble for Liquid unless they pick up an early gem, which I have seen them do many, many times.
Yep, I mean, as you had mentioned, there's just so many things that this Weaver's going to have to worry about once the items start to come out. I mean, the one thing he has going
for actually opting for a rather unusual build. I saw him go this the first game. It was Tango 3 branches into a circlet. Usually people don't really opt for that early circlet.
I actually like that approach a lot. And Korok has been known to do that on a number of heroes. Very stable, gives you a lot of bonus. I mean, you get +5 to absolutely every stat, so you come out hitting fairly hard. You're a little more tanky, and very important for a TA. A little extra mana, too, allows you to abuse refraction a little bit more easily. Doesn't look like there's going to be any invasion, but Liquid might be offensively tri-laning this after all, and they are. I mean, I would imagine they are. It's going to be spotted out by the Treant. But I was actually going to say they had the potential to do this. And it just depended on what they picked. But with Korok setting up shop in mid, they're going to have both of their damage dealers getting solo lane farm, and the pressure going to be on Black and company to perform here now. The one nice thing about this Weaver, as easy to kill as he is in terms of just pure, HP, he's very low, he's very not tanky at all. But he can spam you to death with Shikuchi. He's just got to be really careful to manage his mana correctly, to make sure his supports do not get out of position, and make sure they don't eat too many Illuminates.
So we see this early cog block from Bulba, pulling the creeps back so they're in a relatively defensive position. One thing that I've seen work really well against Weaver triple lanes is a early level of mana leak on Keeper of the Light. And I don't know if Fluff will do it, but it works wonders, especially while he's hasted during Shikuchi. He's pretty much just forced to stand still, and then after that, he's usually dead, because if you stand still for 4 seconds, you can't time lapse. So I hope to see that, because it really does work well against Black. And again, shutting down Black is very important if Liquid wants to win this game.
Such a good point, my friend. That's why we have you on. Very good insight. And, yeah, I mean, Mana Leak just really bones a Weaver's ability to escape. I mean, yes, he has the invis, but we can already see Liquid's already dropped down a Sentry Ward to begin with. So they've got a Sentry Ward and an offensive ward over in the jungle. So they are not going to be looking to play this passively. They are going to challenge this as much as they can. Something else worth mentioning is cogs and the mana burn that's associated with him. We are going to see Bulba eat a little bit of damage here and just eat his way back to safety, pulling a couple of creeps backwards. But, if you're a Lina, who, I mean, you don't have the shallowest mana pool in the world, not only 90 mana is all it takes to cast level 1 Light Strike Array, but still, you run into a cog once or twice, all of a sudden, maybe you don't have that second Light Strike Array to bail your buddy out. Maybe if you're Weaver, you run into it once, and all of a sudden you start to worry a little bit more than you should have to about your mana pool. I mean, he doesn't start out all that high anyway. As low cost as Shikuchi is, he only has 250 to begin. But we'll keep an eye on that lane as things progress. For right now, let's look at TC versus Koikva. This should be a fairly break-even lane. TC, depending on what he wants to get, I would be surprised if he doesn't get an Orb of Venom up on this bear really quickly, just to make it a little bit harder for Koikva to do what he's doing right now.
And there is some potential for some good plays on bottom by the Rubik. I have seen people use the cogs against the Clockwork themselves. As soon as he cogs, you can lift him up and put him on the other side. So he has to break 2 cogs. It looks like there's initiation on bottom.
Exactly what I was talking about. That's what they couldn't allow to happen. To a T, that's what I said they couldn't do. They could not overextend. They could not screw up their positioning. And Weaver, way too far forward, playing way too confidently, feeds a first blood. That actually hurts them tremendously because now Fluff is level 2. That means he's got a point into Chakra Magic. And he's going to be able to just challenge every single pull here. He's going to be, you have to, once you get to the point that a Keeper of the Light can fully spam this stuff out, yeah, I mean, Poss right there eats that. You have to play so defensively and just hope that a Keeper isn't charging an Illuminate on the side of the, on the other side of the trees. Liquid comes out firing fast and heavy. We can see TC is beginning to open up a lead here in terms of CS, doubling up the Nature's Prophet now. And did he get an Orb of Venom? Yeah, he did. And this is just going to make it so much easier for him to harass the Prophet out of lane over and over again.
And the creep score is actually pretty low on both sides. Both heroes in mid, less than 10. We see 8 on the side of TA with a whopping 10 denies from Korok and 7 and 5 for Fada. So pretty low creep scores, and we see a smoke rotation from the 2 supports on Liquid's side. Fluff and IX Mike just sitting in mid, hopefully scoring a kill on Fada.
Gonna go ahead and make it up to the high ground here. Looking to try to make something happen. That's gonna leave Bulba by himself, and Micah got spotted. And immediately Fada backs out. He's got his bottle up too. So Mike, a little bit of a slip there. Big missed opportunity for Liquid as they will go ahead and rotate back down to bottom. Bulba just blocking the creep spawn. Nothing wrong with that. Yep. Oh, actually he didn't. Huh. They did spawn. Anyway, back to Mouz getting some free farm. We can see Weaver is soaking as much as he can. He's second on the CS board at 19 now in comparison to the 23 on the Lone Druid. But how do you feel about the lane so far? I mean, who do you think is going to come out of this laning phase ahead so long as the status quo maintains?
I don't know. It's too early call, but it's just farming everywhere. Like top's decent farm for both sides, and mid is a little bit in favor of Templar Assassin, but that I don't know. I guess Liquid's coming ahead on farm on paper just because they have First Blood and better CS in both of the solo lanes. But again, it's still too early to call anything.
And now Liquid, looking like they might want to make something else happen. They have another smoke? They don't. So just kind of hanging back for the moment. Bulbo will be the beneficiary of Chakra Magic. He has a bottle up of his own. Still not level 3 on the Keeper. Level 3 is really the essential level on a Keeper of the Light. 2 points in the Chakra Magic means he can easily maintain his own mana pool as well as the mana pool of another hero. So for right now, they continue to play rather far back. And the top 2 farmers on the board, solidly in favor of Liquid. Black's not far behind at 21. But the Druid is doubling up Koikva, so Koikva is hurting a little bit, but at the very least, he's soaking some good experience.
Yep, and I'm curious to see what build he goes this game. Probably a minus rush. He does have an early ring of protection, though, in case he wants to go early Basilius and push down some towers, but that is always very difficult to do against the Keeper of the Light.
We're here in Game 3 of this best of 3, all quiet, at least for the moment. Now we're going to have Korok getting a little ahead of himself, dives underneath the tower, has refraction to burn off that tower damage, though, so not a problem. Almost 6 minutes in. Very quiet in comparison to last game. Last game, we, if I'm not mistaken, we actually eclipsed the one kill per minute mark. And challenge for the rune, as Puck does find himself an invis. Actually, he found himself a haste and popped the invis to grab it. Potential for action as Bulba's a little too far forward. Here comes Paz. Telekinesis will be there. Cinderin is there to follow it up. Bulba eats it right in the mouth, but with Mike very close by, didn't even have to spend Disruption. Just no way to really effectively follow it up that close to the tower.
So I'm curious to see the item builds from both heroes, whether it be like TC with an early armlet so he can put some pressure out on some towers, or maybe an early... Oh, actually, Koikva went phase boost, so we might see a little bit more action than usual from Nature's Prophet. Last game we did see a Midas rush into a Shadow Blade. We see a TP in middle, and Korok is sitting very, very low, but he has refraction up. I think he'll escape.
Throws down the side trap. He's going to have to meld again, and now Koikva's there. Though they do not have any detection. There's the Waning Rift. They throw that out. Refraction keeping Korok alive as he's just camping out right now. And they're patiently waiting. It's like, you know what? This is fine. Not at all worried about it. Korok trying to sneak the courier in, and he does! The courier got in. What did it get him? I didn't even see what it got to him. A TP? Now there's going to be a Sprout, and Korok still alive by some miracle. They're going to turn this around. Korok does drop. Can they get Koikfa? Koikfa making a run for it. Puck still alive. And now Cinderin, a little too far forward, will get a kill of his own. Will end up being traded away for it. That's going to make it 2-2. And did you see what the courier dropped off to him? It had to have been.
They gave him his bottle.
Oh, gave him his bottle. Okay. But anyway, the courier sneaking in, taking some damage. Druid does manage to take the tower down in the meantime, so certainly not that bad of an exchange if you're in TC shoes. As it stands, though, make that 2-2.
Yep, and Koikfa getting some early action on the map, and that is exactly what you want to do with that early phase boot pickup. He can't really do anything in TC. He can't stop his farm really, so he really needs to either go a very farm heavy build so he can make the most out of his solo lane experience, or TP to the other lanes because again he can't shut out this Scylla Bear. It's too difficult to do as a Nature's Prophet. See Templar Assassin playing very aggressively in this territory, looking for an easy kill on the supports.
And now TC still hanging around, finding his farm. In the meantime, Black is managing to farm himself up pretty well here on the Weaver as well. Got a Bassi, got his brown boots. We'll see if he wants to go straight for an Aqualay or if he'll do something like go drums straight into a Lincoln's. But Liquid, we look at Korok, he's still sitting on tier 1 boots, so that extra bit of time spent certainly not helping him out too much in that department. And right now, I mean, Liquid, again, is a team, and they've drafted a lineup that does, in my mind, want to be more active. And they need to make sure that they stay stable here early on. Don't let the Weaver get too far ahead.
Yep, and checking the gold graph, it's about, wow, pretty significant difference. About 2,200 in favor of Team Liquid. That is, of course, with the T1 tower down. And XP is actually in favor of Mouse right now.
So Mouse, though they are falling behind, that's mostly just due to farm. I mean, 53 for the Lone Druid. They did get the tower, as you had mentioned. 48 for Black's not bad, but the gulf between Korok and Puck at this point is quite large. And not just Puck, but Korok and the next highest, which is the Prophet. They're sitting in the mid-20s, while Korok is getting closer to 50, now at 41. And we'll see if Liquid wants to be, you know, this is actually a little surprising to me. This is usually when you start to see Liquid get ultra aggressive. Bulba with the DD room popped and a hook, still not even really running with his teammates yet.
We see some very high levels from Mouse's supports, both of them almost level 6. Oh, actually Rubik is level 6. And Fluff in deep trouble here.
And we're going to see Nature's Prophet getting the kill onto Fluff. Actually couldn't track it down. There was Fluff over here. And now we're going to have Korok sprouted in. They're going to try to clean this up. Cinderin's in a bit of trouble. Shadow Poison with 1 stack. And there's a disruption. He gets the kill as well. Looks like it'll be 1 for 1. Korok continues to move forward, chasing down Koikfa. Side trap thrown out. The slow was effective. And Korok now eating a lot of damage. Here comes TC and the Bear, though. There's the silence on Korok. He's taking right click, and now the hook! Bailing his buddy out. Let's see if it's enough to keep Korok alive. It is for the moment. Black, though, able to clean it up from a distance. From the low ground comes the Illuminate. Black time lapses out of it. And Liquid makes it a triple kill for Bulba. This is what I was expecting, and this is what I was talking about. Right about now is when you see Bulba, whenever he does okay and gets a decent start, a quick 6, or a reasonable 6, I guess, on a Clockwork, this is when he starts to move around and hook up with his teammates, and Liquid making it work for them there. They lead 6-5.
Yeah, absolutely nasty hook shot in Call combo. Ooh, wow. Call looks decent right there.
Yeah, absolutely nasty, Cinderin says. You're a little too close. You need to back off, bro. In the meantime, though, TC and Bulba applying pressure. The Bear laying into the tower. And will be recalled out. 6-6, we're all knotted up. We got 12 kills on the board and an 11-minute game. Looking at the inventories, Clockwork's got 1,300 gold in the bank. He and Korok are going to dip into the Roche pit now with the minus armor from Meld. You know, it's still chancy. The tier 1s are still up. There's only one tier 1 missing, but it's the one that's irrelevant to Roche. That's the top tier 1 on the Radiant side. So they are taking a chance here, just feeling confident they have the vision they need. He just shot a rocket out. And we'll see if that's enough of a tip. Sometimes just the angle of the rocket can be enough to tip off what you're up to. So far, though, nope. Roche is down to a quarter. Yep, I think they just figured it out. There's the orb going to be thrown, but Roche is very low. They may be able to sneak it. They're going to try to. And there it is. So Roche drops TA. Actually just heard a hook. Looks like it missed from Bulba. Not sure who the target was. But Roshan drops at just 12 minutes in an early Aegis into the inventory of Korok.
Again, Liquid playing very nicely with their lineup. They have Bear to tank it, especially with his early armlet up and running already, and then Templar Assassin with Meld and that minus armor from Meld and Refraction tank just working very well to take down that Roshan. They like playing to their strengths of their lineup and to their side, and we've seen them take out Roche very early both times they've been on dire side. So I think Mouz really needs to be more aware of this. They had this ward over here, but I don't think it scouted any of the heroes. It can't really see over here on this cliff, and giving away that Roche is really costly for them. So both heroes in mid still pretty far away from their blink daggers. Templar Assassin 1,500 away, and Puck about 1,800, 1,900 gold away from that.
6-6. TC's been recalled in. They're going to give the old okey doke. Moving into the Radiant side jungle. Going to take the end around. And now they're going to recall somebody else in. That is going to be Korok. Nope, never mind. It's going to be Bulba, who hooks up with them now. Korok continues to just sit and gain attention in mid, and Synderen is going to be spotted out. There's the hook. They're able to catch up right into the enemy team. There's the Illuminate from downtown. Light Strike Array does stun him out. But in the meantime, the battle continues to rage behind as well. That's going to be 2 down, Rubik plus Lina. And now, laying into the Tier 1 top. Looks like Black and company want to go ahead and try to trade Tier 1 for Tier 1. Don't think they're going to have the push power. Liquid is going to go ahead and try to save it. They're going to get there just in time to deny it, most likely. And, yep. 1 on, 1 deny, so there's a win there. In the meantime, Puck does manage to find himself a kill. And continuing to chase down Fluff. Needs a little bit of tower damage, but Fluff able to make it to safety. 7-8, Liquid going tower for tower deny, losing a hero in the process.
Yeah, Korok farming really fast now. He's only 600 away from his blink. He just has 600 gold and just came out with a quick 1,000, just sweeping that T1 tower, especially with that really nice smoke by Liquid, setting that push up. And looks like this other T1 on bottom is in great danger. I don't think they can't defend this at all.
That bear already beginning to feel pretty fat. He's got his armlet up. And his phase boots, we'll see what he wants to grab up next. Back here in mid, they're going to go ahead and apply some pressure. Black has opted to complete the Aqualay. He's got almost enough for an ultimate orb if he wants to go with the Lincoln's build. Mike will be sprouted in, now surrounded by the Treants and disrupted by Mike once again. Doesn't matter. As a year, yeah, another disruption from Mike. Bought him some time, but with nobody there to help him out, there's nothing he can do. Tier 1 mid, now the next target. It's down to about a quarter health. But here comes Bulba. He thought about throwing the hook. And what did he get? Paz managed to get Rocket Flare. So Bulba just playing defense, basically, playing all the way up on the other side of the river. Liquid able to keep that tower standing with 276 HP. Mouz now falling back into a defensive formation. And we'll see how badly they want to press this. He's going to be summoning Mike in immediately off of the ulti. And again, that right there is why Keeper's banned more so than Illuminator Chakra. Both those skills are great, but the ability to bring a hero straight back from the well, pretty absurd.
Absurd indeed, and they're just making really good use of this Lone Druid pick, pushing down towers. He had pretty much free farm up top after like level 4 or 5 or so, and that early armlet just crushes towers. Looks like they still have a couple minutes left on the Aegis. Looks like or just a little over 2 minutes left. So I expect them to keep applying pressure, perhaps take out this T2. And it's looking very dangerous. Oh, they do drop a sentry, and we'll spot out Korok.
Korok going to be telekinesis back. He has refraction. Isn't enough. Puck does not ethereal jaunt to him. Very wise choice. Would have done so right into the heart of the Liquid squad. So Korok able to walk between the raindrops that time. In the meantime, though, Black has opted to go ahead and grab his ultimate orb, so he'll be on his way to that Lincoln Sphere. They're going to need him to fight real soon, though, and this is the problem, and we talked about it. Their team is just not very robust. They're a very thin squad that when they get caught in these fights, they need someone there to just create havoc and chaos. And outside of the Waning Rift and the Coil from Puck, we're just not going to be able to see it without the Weaver being involved. And Liquid slowly pressuring this Tier 2. Now, if you're, as we see, they're already under pressure. If you're in the shoes of Mouz here, Merlini, what's your number one concern about trying the team fight at this stage of the game?
I would just let it go. They need to get the blink up on Puck before they can have a really nice initiation.
There's the hook, just heard it land, and Paz will be cleaned up. However, so will Bulba. Synderen making a run for it. He has no mana, gonna need a big meld, I should say. Coil does lock down IX. Mikey disrupts himself, comes right back out, and will end up going down. as Black does show up to try and help with the fight. Buyback from Cinder and Korok being pursued out. In the meantime, the fight rages on in mid. Fluff eating a lot of damage. The Waning Rift catches Fluff. He's going to be silenced out. Black's there to clean the kill up. So Liquid overstaying their welcome in mid. The hook leadoff from Bulba was great, but there was next to no follow-up. TC quite literally limping back to the base. Him and the Bear. And it's 11-10. Mouz somehow scrapes together a kill lead once again.
Yeah, they really don't want to initiate like that, especially with the Aegis. They didn't make use of the Aegis at all. 3 heroes died, but none of them was TA. TA needs to go in first, blink, and try and pick off one of the really weak supports, preferably Lino or Rubik, and possibly Nature's Prophet because he does not have his Shadow Blade up. And then once Temple Assassin draws a lot of fire, he can set up for a nice hookshot cog. But him initiating straight up like that when they have an Aegis and a blink TA is not ideal. Or if they wait for Mouz to initiate on the Bear or TA, they can always defensively disrupt and choose to initiate that way while they walk into Illuminate. But that is not how Liquid wants to engage team fights. They did manage to take on the tower though, so not so bad. But again, the Aegis looks like it's about down now, and another 4 minutes until Roshan.
TC will be going with the Maelstrom build. He's added the Mithril Hammer to his inventory. Very, very stable way, and probably the most common way to build a Lone Druid now. That mid tower is cleaned up. Bulba does land in. Pops the battery assault, trying to find a target. And Puck trying to dodge it. There's a coil that catches 3. He fades out. There's the hook, though. And Puck will be cleaned up, so a nice coil comes to no avail. As there was no follow-up, the rest of the team separated out. Black split pushing bottom will be forced out as Mike does TPN. And the rest of Liquid withdrawing as well. We're all knotted up on the scoreboard, making it 11-11. We got 22 kills in a 19-minute game. The gold, though, very much like Game 2. Mouz just cutting that lead down incrementally, and all of a sudden it's well within range. 2,000, the advantage remains for Liquid, but look at the experience. It has swung all the way back north, and Mouz actually has a lead in that department.
In terms of net worth, Weaver and Lone Druid very close in net worth, 7,200 as opposed to 7,100, and then TA very closely behind as well with 7,000. Puck and Prophet is pretty close to, both around 5,800, so looks like quite a few farmed heroes, and then 4 supports, of course, on bottom. And Bulba actually quite close in the gold lead, too. He's pretty close to his Scepter. The first game we saw him do a Treads into a Blade Mail rush, and this game he's going for a Scepter, most likely so he can catch Puck, the ever so elusive Puck, especially with Blink.
Net worth, as you said, very, very, very close. Take a look at Koikva, who sits right in the middle of the pack. He's going to be working on his Shadow Blade. He's about 900 gold away from it now. That's really when you start to see Koikva feel more comfortable in the shoes of the Nature's Prophet. He starts to play a bit more active, tries to take on more of a playmaker role. Speaking of playmakers, Korok's got 1,000 gold in the bank. Now, he's already got up Treads, Drums, as well as his Blink Dagger. What are you thinking here, Merlini? Are you looking for damage out of Korok at this stage, or do you just go ahead and get a BKB, keep him alive as long as you can? All right, I guess we'll get back to that here in a minute. Hopefully I didn't cut out on you.
Sorry you cut out there for a second.
It's okay. The question was, if you're in Korok's shoes, what are you going to go for? You've got your Blink Dagger, your Treads, and your Phase Boots. Do you decide to go ahead and build damage and look to go ahead and take control of the game that way, or do you just want to get a BKB up so you can stay alive a little bit longer?
I would say BKB. They don't really have any solutions to BKB. Only problem is hopefully he doesn't waste his BKB by getting sprouted inside. But really, they don't have any real physical damage. I mean, Black, but that's no problem for Refraction to handle. And I think if he survives these fight, which is going to be really, really important for him, then he can build damage later on down the road. He can also go for an Orchid build, as we've seen him do before. It's very good versus Puck and versus Weaver.
Speaking of Weaver, there we go. Excuse me, speaking of Puck, he comes in, hits a coil on Bulba, but there's another good disruption. Now Syndred locked down by Mike. Here comes TC, trying to get involved. We see one kill secured by the Laguna Blade. In the meantime, Puck looking to make something happen. Quickfist there as well. Spread out on both sides of the trees. Poss is in trouble, being focus fired by Korok. Kill drop. Illuminate is fired off and caught too. Puck's in trouble. Black's in trouble. They just got to get a handle on one or the other. Black will not be able to get away as TC's Bear. One swipe, nipping at his heels just at the edge of Sentry range. He was uncloaked anyway, didn't matter. Liquid goes 2 for 3, but more importantly, the heroes left standing are heroes that can do something else. Never mind, we're actually going to see Fluff go lend his counter push abilities to top to make sure Koikva can't do anything at this top lane. There's the Illuminate. Actually comes up just short of actually hitting the hero. But Liquid timing as if it was on a timer, I should say. Roshan pops back up, and Liquid back in the pit, ready to take another Aegis.
I don't think Black should have died at all in that fight. He still had time lapse up as well as Manta. And again, there were no disables or stuns, especially with Clockwork falling very early in the fight. And speaking of Bobo, he actually opted for a 4-staff. I thought he was going to build a Scepter with a point booster and the Staff of Wizardry, but actually opting for a 4-staff. When we have seen him do this before, sometimes just hook-shotting Kage and then forcing himself out and just leaving the hero in the Cog to hopefully die.
Much more mobility-based, which is, becoming the key word here for Liquid. I mean, mobility, and, not just that, just being able to get heroes out of trouble as well. IX Mike is a very squishy hero, or on a very squishy hero in the Shadow Demon, I should probably phrase it. So just having a 4-staff to bail him out if and when he overextends, or if and when he's a little unfortunate in the engagement from the other team. Either way,
so Liquid...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Liquid already just securing that Roshan, just again making very good use of their lineup, and TA already has another Aegis, so she's looking very good on farm. 3,100 gold. I think she's gonna go for a BKB next, but I'm not positive on that.
Keep an eye on it. The gold graph back into Liquid's favor considerably, back down to roughly where it was, around 4,000. The experience back down in their favor as well. So Mouz had recaptured a lead in experience and at least stopped the bleeding.
Smoke.
Smoke will be taking place right here with Fluff and Bulba. Moving through the Roche pit. And Black will Shikuchi by. We see the rocket flare go off. Right now, though, just trying to bait someone into that Radiant side jungle. TC playing very far forward. The rest of them smoked up and crossing the river now. Korok joins the Warband as he's brought in via Keeper of the Light. Now, again, if you're Mouz, I mean, obviously Puck's their initiation. But what's your number one priority in trying to defend these towers?
They need to try... Oh, boy.
There's a hook, knocks down Syndrome. Bulba it will be tossed out of it by a telekinesis. Laguna Blade goes off, but he's alive thanks to Mech. Syndrome now Mana Leak trying to run. There's a good coil, though. Caught a couple. Fluffs up on the high ground. Will fully charge this thing. And will let it fly. And Puck actually dodges it. Poss not so lucky. Takes a lot of damage. More importantly, though, Liquid able to zone Mouz away from their own Tier 2. This is the second Tier 2 that's about to drop. And now Puck's going to re-engage, going for Mike. Mike is making a run for it, and yeah, he just kind of went for it. And that did not go as planned. Not sure what the idea was there, Puck. A little too high risk for my taste. Liquid, now with the Puck gone, we can see the Tier 3 is being pressured as Black is split pushing. That'll force TC to come back. The rest of Liquid, I'm a little surprised TC went back, actually. Korok.
They have a recall, so I think he's going to recall him back and continue to push his T3.
And there you go. Now we're going to see Mike caught out. He's going to be disrupting himself to stay alive. The Bear in the meantime cleaning up the tower. Mike does end up dropping Fluff a little bit late with the blinding light, trying to bail his buddy out. Let's see how hard they want to commit to this. Puck and Mike both down. Puck still down another 20 seconds. They still have all the punching power in the world. The age just still remains on Korok. That Bear with demolish. There's a hook that's going to connect. They're going to be able to lock one in, but Weaver tries to Manta Style out of trouble. Bulba tossed out of it again. He may end up dying, does end up dying. Black going to be forced to make a run for the well. The Bear's still up. He's going to rush right back up to the tower. TC right in range. They get the Tier 3. And it looks like they're going to resummon Bulba. And the Illuminate clears the creeps once again. Everyone is back up from Mouz, though. The Bear's going to be telekinesis. They'll try to get that a free kill. Very nice job by Koikfa there. There's a coil that caught a couple. Can they engage? Will they engage? They're going to go for it. Bulba drops the cogs. Fluff's in trouble. Eating a lot of damage. Ends up getting off the Mana Leak before he dies. But for now, the rest of Liquid seems to be going for a run. Bulba going to have cogs up in 2 seconds. Koikfa's there, throws out the sprout that'll lock Bulba in. He will force staff his way out. Korok trying to help his buddy out. Don't think there's any hope now. The desperation hook will not find a target, and the rest of Mouz charging out and on the heels of Korok and the remaining members of Liquid. Black's got to be careful. Does use his wand charges, has time lapse, and we'll go ahead and spend it. Mike and TC able to find safety under the Tier 2 as well. In the meantime, Koikfa has bounced up the top and is split pushing the top Tier 2.
These engagements are not going as well as Liquid could. I think that are just not on par with... I hope Fada doesn't die here. Oh.
And here we go. Fada, phase shifting out. Max duration, delaying the inevitable. Nonetheless, TC manages to get the kill. Fluff has taken up station under the tier 2, though, so Liquid stabilizing a little bit following that long engagement. Just about back where we started, between 3,000 and 4,000 gold the advantage of Liquid. The experience has crossed the Meridian line once again, though, and is in favor of Mouz, albeit very slightly.
Yeah, I feel like Liquid just executed that slop quite, or it was just sloppy, and I think they could have easily gotten the Rex had they executed a little bit better. Again, TA is not playing as aggressive as she should be. She should be drawing a lot of fire, a lot of spells. She had BKB up the whole time. She had Aegis of the Mortal, but again, like, Boba hook shots in, but where's the TA follow-up? And I really want to see more out of Korok so that Liquid can extend their advantage. They have a pretty significant gold advantage, and just the feel of the game seems like it's in Liquid's hands, and they just can't finish up the deal.
Koikva has added the Desolator to his inventory, so he's hitting quite hard, hitting for a little over 200. Hold on, admit we're going to have an engagement as we see one drop. Poss going to be cleaned up immediately. And Koikva nowhere near the engagement. The two main supports are down. Puck still standing, as is Weaver, and the aforementioned Nature's Prophet handled by Koikva. And looks like they're ready to threaten mid. They do have a set of naked racks at bottom. The creep wave is nowhere near, though.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to happen the first time. Like, Liquid, Korok just went in, BKB, killed 2 supports, and then they have some free shots at the racks. I don't know why they didn't happen on the bottom one, but looks like TC will be split pushing bottom, but looks like Koikva is going to be there to defend it. Liquid just wants this easy racks on bottom and have 4 heroes mid, 1 hero bottom. Liquid, TC will rejoin them.
Continuing to look for a way up these stairs. The Deso adding just enough damage, certainly going to help the Weaver out with that armor reduction as well. And Liquid unwilling to fully commit here. With Rubik and Lena back up, looks like they're just going to go ahead and back. Now, Roche will be respawning again in about 4 minutes. Very important, Rosham, with the cheese.
The Aegis just expired, so I guess that's why they decided to back off, and BKB was not up on Korok. So it looks like they will be farming for a little bit, and Korok is looking pretty scary at this point.
Taking a look at old Korok, 2,800 gold in the bank. What are you thinking here? Is he going to build damage, go something like a Deso?
Yeah, I definitely think damage, especially without any Ghost Scepters on their support heroes. Actually, there is one on Rubik, but not one on Lena. I think he does need more damage. He has a lot of survivability with Refraction, with drops for a little bit more HP, and with that BKB pickup. And he's usually the Aegis wielder. They haven't bothered giving it to TC, but TC has not died yet this game, and that is just really excellent play out of his low druid.
TC sitting at 4-0-4, as you had mentioned, and that bear is quite fat. He's got a Maelstrom, he's got a Hyperstone, the armlet that's been done forever. He's also got a Skull Basher, so that bear cleaning house quite effectively, hitting for 200 damage a shot and hitting very, very quickly. Even has 11 armor as well, so TC certainly where he needs to be. Back to Bulba. He does have 1,700 gold in the bank. We'll see what he wants to do with it. Is he going to end up doing something with that point booster, or just keep it naked just for the extra sustainability? 30 minutes in, 17-18, an absolute slugfest between these two teams. Liquid, though, we can see, does benefit from farming a bit more than Mouz does. Every time we fall back to a period of farm, we can look at the gold graph and see that they actually come out ahead.
And it looks like Mouz is trying to keep up the split push pressure with Koikva, but this is the power of Keeper Light. You can just TP back, clear the wave, force Fury on back, and then just keep 5-man pushing. And normally this would be a lot more effective, but they were forced to kind of ban Lifestealer and instead give Liquid the Keeper the Light. So this next Roshan is actually very, very important. I believe it's the 3rd one, so this will have the cheese. 1.5 minutes until there. And if Liquid gets it, that's almost certainly at least bottom racks or mid racks down for Mouz.
Black hooked up with Koikva, as you had mentioned. Only 2 outer tier towers remaining on the side of Liquid. This one in bottom quite low. And the illusions from the Manta doing a little bit of damage to bring them down lower. On the side of Mouz, only 1 outer tier tower remains. That is the top outer tier tower, sitting at full health. Roche, again, should be back up, about 60 seconds from now. Very important Roshan. If Mouz was going to challenge one at all, this is the one.
And there is a gem pickup on Keeper the Light, so that will render Shadow Blade on Nature's Prophet not very useful, as well as Weaver Shikuchi. And it looks like Weaver is not going for BKB. I guess he doesn't really need it. They don't have too much magic damage. Looks like he's just going damage with Demon Edge. Probably in Monkey King Bar, but it could be a Daedalus as well.
Speaking of Daedalus, that's going to be the item choice coming out of the TA. She's picked up her Crystallis to begin with. Already has the recipe as well. Just about halfway to the Demon Edge on top of the things as well. So she'll have that item up relatively quickly. back to Koikva, 2,400 gold in the bank. Now, he has foregone the typical Scythe of Ice pickup to build the damage on the that he gets from the Desolator. You feel like that's a mistake or the right call?
I think a Necro Book would actually be really useful because they're actually not winning many of the 5-on-5 engagements unless Liquid executes poorly, and I think they really need to be able to split push. And with that Necro Book, especially, I think that would just help a lot. Multiple instances of damage to help deal with the Refractor and BKB, as well as the True Sight, so that they can see her meld, especially now that sentries aren't going to be that effective with the gem pickup. Dezo is okay, I guess. It's up to Weaver to get the damage, but most likely, again, he doesn't even have that much damage right now, 180 maybe. It's usually on him to get the damage, but this Roshan is already up and the bear is already inside. They're taking this down very, very quickly, and I doubt that Mouz will have any sort of time to respond to this.
They've already sent one back, that's Bulba. Gonna try to keep this tower up. In the meantime, the split push is there, Black down at bottom. Roche drops in the meantime. They're now going to go ahead and try to engage onto the Weaver. And there we go. There's the Mana Leak. He is going to dip in and look to get a TP out. They do manage to deny the tower, so not the best to lose the tower at all, but if you're going to lose it, better to deny it out. 17-18. We see a Roshan go the way of Liquid, a tower go the way of Mouz. The gold hovering still in that same range. A little bit further ahead now, 5,000 for Liquid, but at 33 minutes, that's not nearly the gulf or the chasm it was 15 minutes ago. The experience moving into their favor fairly handily as well, or at least moderately, in terms of their comparative to where we are in the game. But at this stage, Merlini, break it down. Who do you feel is? I mean, it's easy to look at the gold and the experience and go, well, Liquid's ahead. But in practical terms, who do you think really has the big advantage here?
Liquid is probably, if they win this push, they're probably going to win the game right here. I think even though the gold graph is only at 5,000, they have a huge advantage right now. And Mouz doesn't really have the good 5-on-5 plan. They have no RP, no big spells that can turn around a team fight. And especially without that T3 tower, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to win.
Here we go. Naked Racks here at the bottom. Liquid just waiting on a creep wave. The Illuminate going to help clear things out pretty easily. Daedalus was completed on Korok. Looks like Pos managed to get himself Refraction. Not a bad spell to snag. And it could be make or break time for Mouz. Mouz took an ugly loss in Game 1. They battled back and really hung an ugly one on Liquid in return. So here in Game 3, it could all come down to this. Mouz wants to stay in the upper bracket. Liquid, the favorites in this series and one of the favorites to win the whole thing. Now they're going to go for it. The bear going to be telekinesed and brought back. And TC able to run him back to safety fairly quickly. Has a resummon if he wants it. And now he will use it as the bear does drop. And they're being a lot slower about this. I'm a little surprised, actually, with the Aegis and the Cheese in their inventory. There's the hook. Now they're going to catch Black. Black's the #1 target. He uses time-lapse to try and get away. Decent counter-initiation, but there's Puck also blinking away as well. He was Demonic Purge, and they do lose the melee racks in the meantime. And Liquid now looking to just go ahead and pull back. They have to stop Koikva, who's already taken down the Tier 3 at top. They don't want to give up a set of return racks. The split push very, very strong. TC is going to be resummoned immediately. Now Mike might be in trouble. Here we go. TA is going to go in. Korok, the Aegis holder, has his BKB available. He should hold on to it. He will hold on to it. And Puck going to be cleaned up in the meantime. Now we see Korok actually retreating away from the supports. Black's there, but he is very low health. In the meantime, Bulba did manage to stabilize the top lane, so a win all around for Liquid.
Wow, big mistake by Mouz there. They actually popped the glyph after the racks went down, and that was very, very costly for them, especially since Liquid decided to pull back immediately after. Luckily, they still managed to get a T3 due to Koikva split pushing, but I think they could have gotten away with that rack still alive.
TC's bear continues to be large and in charge. TC sitting on 17,000 net worth. Next closest is TA, followed closely by the Prophet, but that bear has an AC, a Skull Basher, an Armlet, a Maelstrom, hitting so hard, hitting so quickly. Now they're ready to go ahead and push back down mid. Want to get the use out of that Cheese and out of that Aegis. Korok's going to be sprouted in, taking some damage. Mech's going to get him back up and ready to fight. No, there's a root on the Pos. Pos has Refraction popped. I'm really surprised he didn't keep the bear there long enough to get the kill. Mike forced back as well. Korok not wanting to squander the Aegis. Using the Urn Charge to heal himself back up. Finally, we see the full 5-man team emerge as Bulba's teleported in by the Keeper of the Light. Mouz frantically trying to keep something up, trying to extend this game just so hard with this pushability. There's the hook in. They're going to catch Koikfa, but the immediate telekinesis might be enough. Korok comes in as well, going toe-to-toe, and hook was stolen by Pos. That's enough to guarantee the Aegis is popped. Coil went off, but no follow-up, as Korok was the entire focus of attention there. Korok now going to make it away. He actually has a BKB. Then no, he doesn't actually. Never mind. Now they're going to re-engage. There's the silence that catches a bunch. TC's there, but doesn't have the bear. Nope, never mind. The bear is there. Got lost in the shuffle. Bulba drops the cogs. And Puck trying to clean things up. That bear just continuing to get damage everywhere he goes. To get kills everywhere he goes. Such good damage. And Black trying to chase them out. Koikfa did buy back. There's going to be another disruption now. Just disrupting the Puck illusions, unfortunately. Now Black going to be pursued. The bear's right there. Can't get a hit. Can't get a root. 20-18. Liquid not ready to abandon the siege quite yet. In the meantime, we can see Koikfa's buyback has guaranteed they got themselves a Rax. It's going to be Rax for Rax. They don't have Glyph. Can they try and hold the line? Koikfa now re-emerging, wants to try and fight. There's a hook again used by Rubik. He stole it from Clockwork. The bear going to town on the Rax. Rax will drop, and Mal's going to re-engage. They're going to be able to get the Keeper of the Light. Shima True Sight was dropped there. The bear very low. TC does not have a resummon, so the bear needs to stay alive. They're going to be able to get one more return kill. Cinder needs a lot of damage from Korok. Korok now using his BKB fresh off of cooldown. They're going to pursue him out. Bulba's there. He has cogs if he wants to use them. Koikfa, though, just hitting so damn hard. There's going to be a force staff to get him out of the sprout. He drops the cogs to try and secure himself a path to home. Black and Puck continuing to pursue him all the way out. There's the coil. Catches him from long range. He's silenced and killed off. Immediate buyback. And we can see TC helping to clean things up. They did manage to get one set of melee racks, but so did Mouz.
Yeah, pretty intense fight there. And looks like no Aegis and no cheese. And still 4 minutes until Roshan respawns. But Liquid coming back, and looks like they want to pick off Black. But Black is pretty good position right now. He has 240-ish damage, Manta and Monkey King bar. Unfortunately, Koikfa had a buyback. He actually opted for Assault Kira, so a heavy damage build instead of the usual sacrifice that we see picked up from him.
Right now, I'll tell you who's getting... I mean, this lone druid, TC is gigantic. He's got a Vlad's now in his own inventory. The bear is still absolutely huge. He can try to save up for an Abyssal now if he really wants to. He's actually just about halfway to. He was almost exactly halfway to his relic. So he's not far from that if he wants to go in that direction. We're 40 minutes in, 42 kills on the board. Mouz owns the majority of them, but it's a very slim majority, 22-20. And following that skirmish, we're right where we've been all game, somewhere between 2,500 and 5,000 gold advantage for Liquid. The experience arcing back up towards the Meridian line.
Yep, and Mouz really needs to keep up the split push. Koikfa is in charge of that, but he doesn't have buyback anymore, so he has to play extra defensive. Luckily, Liquid did lose the gem. It was dropped by the Keeper of the Light and picked up by TA, but TA again picked off. I think Rubik has an inventory right now. Yes, he does, as well as a Ghost Scepter, Arcane Boots, and almost a Force Staff.
Again, looking at the graphs, very, very close game. Taking a look at our gold per minute, TC is tops on the board. Koikfa not super far away, though. And at 40 minutes in, we are beginning to hit that late game stage. Given the way things are right now, I mean, it's obvious, lacking 2 sets of melee racks, you gotta say Mouz is behind. But just how good of a chance do you give them to be able to try and hold on here?
I mean, losing that third Roshan was... I mean, they couldn't really do anything contested, but every Roshan that they get just means a Rax. And if they get this one, it's just going to mean they're just going to suicide this last one with buybacks, with recalls, with the Aegis, with the cheese. It's just, I mean, they can just erg them down at this point. Even though the gold graph is only 3,500 or so, Liquid definitely has a big advantage. And look at this bear just demolish that tower. So only one T3 tower left for Mouz.
That's a big old bear. That is a big old bear. We'll see what TC wants to get next. He's got 3,200 gold in the bank. Buyback's now becoming a big influence, and we're going to see a Diffusal Blade picked up by TA. So Korok, wanting to have the ability to stick on someone, little extra damage to go with everything, burn that man off, especially on a hero like a Puck, makes a ton of sense. Only 2 heroes up right now that have buyback. That's TC and the Lena, played by Synderin. And the Roshan respawn should be on the way.
Yeah, the Diffusals...
Go ahead.
Diffusal is really good versus these two support heroes. So picked up Ghost Stepper. You can just purge it and then just keep on going on them.
The rest of Mouz getting into position, knowing they're going to have to defend once again. The pipe's going to be completed and popped. And Liquid ready to roll. They're going to rush it down, tier 3, taking the brunt of it. They do have a glyph if they want to use it. The bear, though, going to eat a lot of damage. And he does get almost got away because of the Force Staff. TC can resummon. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and say the hell with it. Roshan's going to be the next target as they take the long road home. And that's exactly what they're going to do. About 50 seconds until Roche is back up. Now, if you're in Mouz's shoes, Merlini, what's the plan to contest this?
I mean, they pretty much just have to contest it. If they can't, they're just going to Zerg on these towers. They finally have a sheep completed on a puck, so hopefully they can pick off a target without buyback. Looks like TA is probably the target of choice, but it's going to be pretty difficult when she has BKB. She just spent all her money on Diffusal, so only 800 gold. If they can manage to sheep her and kill her before she pops all her cooldowns, then it's going to be a win on that team fight for Mouz. But unfortunately, IX Mike, if he's on top of his game, can't save him with Disrupt. So chances are pretty slim for Mouz. This fight has to go very, very well for them. But again, they can't let this go. This Aegis and Cheese is just way too much for Mouz to deal with.
Mouz moving into position. Make or break time. We've said that a couple of times. They managed to at least keep the game within reach. And they're way up in no man's land. They got to be careful. Very dangerous place to be spread out. Here we go. Puck's going to be, Bulba's going to be telekinesis. Now Cinderin's going to be purged. Cinderin gets off the Light Strike Array. Well aimed. Now we're going to have the re-engagement. Korok laying into Pos. Pos using Refraction. Cinderin trying to find some safety. Not going to be able to do so as Mike's right on his heels. In the meantime, Pos did end up dropping. Here comes TC on the rest of the fight. And we see Black and the rest of Mouz trying to fight this out in two different spots, but it's just not working. All of Liquid still up and fighting. They lost two supports. This Roshan not going to stand for long.
Yeah, Mouz had to contest it. They're fighting from behind at this point. It's very, very difficult for them to win team fights. They don't really have a good team fight oriented lineup, and this was the problem with the draft. Nature's Prophet not very good at team fights. Weaver, there are a lot better heroes, and they really like a significant team fight presence of a Magnetar or any such hero, and it's just hurting them right now. They can't ever take on a 5-on-5 engagement.
Worth mentioning, both of these teams did not pick a Magnus. Magnus was not banned and not picked in this match. And hard to imagine what a different game it could be if Mouz did have that extra little bit of punch here at 44 minutes in. We're all knotted up. 44 minutes in, 44 kills on the board, 22-22. The gold finally dips past 5,000 for the first time in a long time. Only the second time this entire game that one team has had an advantage greater than 5,000 in terms of gold. The experience somewhere near zero again, in between 0 and 2,500, which is 100% negligible at this stage of the game. An absolute barn burner here in Game 3 of the winner's bracket semifinals.
So Cheese actually goes to the Clockwork, who is very, very close to completing his Aghanim Scepter, and Korok is tired of getting split pushed. He opts for BOTs and does not have enough money for buyback.
Everyone's inventories are just so full now. Bulba just completed his Scepter, the item we thought we'd see a lot earlier. But the buybacks, we can see Weaver plus Prophet both have buyback. Cinderin has buyback. IX Mike has buyback. TC has buyback. This is the only rack still standing, the only melee racks at the very least. Weaver is hitting very hard. He's now added crit to his repertoire with a Crystallis pickup, hitting for 270 damage. Pipes pop. Here we go. They're going to rush it down. Bear immediately picked up telekinesis. They want to drop that bear as quickly as they can. There's the magic damage follow-up. Force Staff gets the bear out of trouble. What did Rubik get? Rubik got Refraction. He's been able to get Refraction most of the time from Korok. Very nice survivability spell for him to get his hands on. These creep waves at this stage of the game getting very, very big and very, very tough to cope with. And once again, Liquid ready to rush things down. They're going to lead the way with TC. And the bear's actually on the low ground now. TC does have the Aegis, worth mentioning. The cheese is actually in Bulba's inventory. So Bulba's going to be looking to land a hook. That's going to be the number one way Liquid wants to do this. They're going to continue to just chip away at this Tier 3 tower, but it's all just the hope that Bulba can find himself a hook and engage off of that, use the cheese, and have TC follow it up with that Aegis. Korok's going to be disrupted just to give this some more push power. Here we go. Treant standing sentinel, trying to keep this tower alive, but Glyph is going to be popped. The bear's going to end up eating a lot of damage. He actually added a Talisman of Evasion to that bear. So the survivability of the Panda, quite large. Liquid once again. Resetting, reloading, and ready to fire. No glyph this time to save that tower. This will be the end of the tier 3. It just depends on how committed to this push Liquid's going to be. Black's up front along with some Treants, along with Puck. Pipes pop. There's the silence that comes out. Tower will be cleaned up by the illusions. Now an Illuminate does a bit of damage as well. Liquid playing very patient. In the meantime, these lanes are beginning to push in. They've been in the midst of this siege for a few minutes now. And Mouz with no concrete way to initiate outside of Puck. Puck does have a Scythe of Ice that certainly helps their cause. Survivability. The order of the day on just about everyone except for the Prophet. Prophet does have a Shadow Blade, but other than that, pure damage, as you had mentioned, Merlini. And now, more damage being poured out. Liquid looking for a way in. They're going to be actually able to engage. Here comes Bulby, catches Black. Now the coil goes down. They're going to try and fight this out. Black's in trouble being pursued out. Uses time lapse. We see Koikfa drop. In the meantime, the rest of Liquid cleaning house. Koikfa forced to use his buyback. And Liquid backs out without a single casualty. Bulba did use the cheese, so they did end up using that. Now the re-engagement. There's a big Illuminate. The cop 3. They're going to try to follow it up. Black will end up dropping. Black does not have buyback. And TC, oh, now he does. That's why he doesn't have buyback. He just spit it. So he's going to be getting back into the fight. The racks still stand. Now Synderen eating a lot of the damage. Another Illuminate, and down he goes. No buyback for him this time around. He had just used it. Korok now going to be hexed out. They want to find a way to do damage. TC and the Panda, though, just going crazy. That is the second bear. If they can kill the bear off, he's down for good. Korok in the meantime, though, gets a big crit on Paw, sends him back to the well. And now, finally, the GGs come out. An absolute grindhouse as Liquid, despite Mouz's best efforts and noble efforts they were, Liquid able to close up shop and get the job done. They advanced 2-1. What a series, Merlini.
Yeah, what a series. Well played by TC. I think he's definitely MVP for this matchup. Korok too as well. I mean, they both played exceptionally well all game.
Gotta catch my breath. That fight went on forever. Come on, you gotta talk more than that, man.
That was a long stage. There's nothing to say. I mean, you can kind of see it coming. Just Aegis cheese, get a Rex, another Aegis cheese, get another Rex, and very methodical siege by Liquid during the last 15-20 minutes of the game. I kind of saw the end of the game coming, and without the split push from Koikfa and the recall for Liquid to defend, it's just really difficult for Mouz to apply enough pressure to keep that 5-man death ball from taking over all their racks and the rest of their base.
There we go. Now I caught my breath. Thank you very much, my friend. 22-30, the final kill score. 48 minutes, 58 seconds, the time it took them. Liquid pushed to the limit, and Mouz, I'll tell you what, man, they hung on so tight, but not tight enough. Liquid punches their ticket to the winner's bracket finals. Tell you what, how about we take a quick look at where we stand in the graph, or in the bracket. EG and Na'Vi, our second match of the day, our last match, actually, it's going to be our second match past noon. It's now our third match, and it is coming up next, by the way. The winner of that will meet Team Liquid, who got past Empire earlier today, now getting past Mouz as well. So Na'Vi taking on EG coming up next here at the Curse Invitational, powered by Alienware. Stick with us, guys. Don't go anywhere. I'm AC, joined by Merlini. Follow us on Twitter. Follow here on twitch.tv/Curse Entertainment. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Stay put.